Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dan Gazaway, your mental performance coach. Today I'm going to be talking about living in the present moment, which is very hard for many of us to do. Current research says that we miss about 50% of our lives because we can't live in the present moment. Many of us think too much about the past. We think too far into the future. And we have a very difficult time getting rid of the distractions and focusing on the present moment. So today I'm going to share a couple of stories that I share to my pitching students about focusing on playing the game one pitch at a time. But before I do that, I wanted to talk about a quote by Oral Hershiser, which is very, very important. If you think about this, you can relate this to any aspect of your life. In fact, that's the intent, right? To share these baseball analogies and apply it to every single aspect of our lives because it is very relatable. The first thing Oral Hershiser says is, once my catcher and I determine the pitch, that's all there is. There's nobody standing there then. I don't think about the next game, the next inning, the next hitter, the next play. There's only next pitch. It's the only job I have is this pitch right here, right now. One of the things that I teach my pitchers is, of course, playing the game one pitch at a time. One thing I often say is you can't let the last pitch, good or bad, affect this pitch right here, right now. Just like Oral Hershiser said, it's just this pitch right here. I can't control what's in the past, what's going to happen in the future. I can only solely focus on my mechanics right now and that perfect release of the baseball. That's all there is just that present moment. So I have a couple of stories to share. The best pitchers I know can throw a ball and give up a home run. They can walk the next guy. And they can refocus their attention on the present moment. And one of the things that I like to do is visualize. We talk about visualization a lot and what that really means. But one of the things that I did to draw my attention back, if I ever gave up a home run or a double or I walked some guy, to live in the present moment, I would focus on my mechanics, my delivery. I would see the camera. When we typically do visualization, we see the camera at different angles. I like to see the camera from above, and I can see my equal and opposite. I can see that all of my momentum is going straight towards home plate. That's the first thing I would visualize. The second thing I would visualize is where the pitch was going to go. If I would throw a curveball outside corner, I would visualize that pitch work in my favor every single time. That's exactly what it did. And then I would visualize the batter swinging and missing. So everything always worked out in my favor when I would visualize, and that kept me in the present moment. Now, there are several hundred different things that you can do to live in the present moment. That's what I actually did. Now, you can also visualize things not going your way before the game, because you really can't control whether you're going to win the game or not, because there's too many variables in pitching. You don't know if your team's going to produce any runs for you. That's out of your control. You don't know if your team's going to make errors. You can throw this perfect game and they have 5 errors and then you lose the game. You can only control what you can control, and playing the game one pitch at a time actually helps you maintain control of your emotions, your visualization, and everything that applies to that one pitch at a time. So a couple of scenarios of what I learned the hard way, which we always do in sports. I was called in high school. It was my junior year. I usually was a starting pitcher. I was a PO, pitcher only. And I remember it being a very cold day. Here come the excuses already, right? But I remember it was a cold day. I was sitting the bench because I was a PO, didn't start that game, and I wasn't expected to play. But we were behind, or I can't remember. I think we were ahead by 1 run actually, but the bases were loaded. I think there was 1 out. And I got called off the bench to finish the game. And I remember my coach saying, hey, Gazaway, just finish this for us. Just shut him down. Again, bases were loaded, came straight from the bench. I had my 5 warm-up pitches. I was ready to go. So I went through all those visualization exercises. Even in my youth, I had those. And And I remember throwing the first pitch. I think it was fouled off, threw the second one, but I really remember the third pitch because it really didn't go my way. I throw this third pitch and it is a meatball, 75, 78 miles an hour. Granted, it was only my 8th pitch, warm-up pitch. And as soon as I let it go, I knew I was in trouble. And sometimes as pitchers, when we know that, we can get away with it because hitting a baseball is one of the hardest things to do in sports. This time I didn't get away with it. That kid hit the ball. He was a farm kid he was huge. He was a farm kid from Grantsville, and that was a long bus ride home. He hit that so hard it would have been over any major league fence. I mean, he let me have it. Bases were loaded, 4 runs scored, and that was a long bus ride home. And I remember thinking, again, I was a junior in high school, didn't have the mental game down like I do now, but I'm like, man, that's the end of my baseball career, right? How many scouts were there? Who was watching? Now I'm never going to make the major leagues. You just beat yourself up. But I remember what my coaches had taught me at the time is just living in the present moment, throwing the game one pitch at a time. And on that bus ride home, I started thinking, hey, that pitch, that one pitch, that doesn't define my career. That doesn't define me. Even baseball doesn't define me as a person. So I started to talk to myself the right way. And long story short, the next game did go in my favor. I threw one of the best pitches or the best games I ever threw in high school. I think it was a one-hitter, and I can't remember who it was against, but I remember coming back from that. And it really helped me. It really built my confidence up and made me realize that, hey, you can have a bad outing. You can have one bad pitch. You can have several bad pitches. But again, that doesn't define who you are. And if we play the game one pitch at a time and we play life one day at a time or even 1 minute at a time, and we switch our focus in good positive self-talk, we will always come out victorious. A couple of things in basketball too. I'll give you a basketball example. Good and bad. Let's just say you go shoot a layup and you miss the layup. If you get frustrated by that layup and you spend just a few seconds or even just 1 second with your head down, frustrated by the play, that's already in the past. There's nothing you can do about it. You missed and you don't move on. They're probably scoring on the other end against you. So you have to be able to play the game one play at a time. So how do you relate that to your life? There are a lot of life stories. I've been a sales trainer for many, many years. And one of the things that I train my sales guys is especially the people that make cold calls, whether they're account executives or BDRs. It's one call at a time. You can't let the last call, good or bad, if somebody yells at you, you can't let that last call affect you emotionally, mentally, and that bleeding into the next call because it is a brand new person on the phone. It's a brand new call. So my invitation to you today is to think about those things in your life that you can play one play at a time, that you can do one call at a time, one play at a time, one pitch at a time, whatever that is, and put it in the comments below and help us out. Make it a great day, everybody. We'll see you next time.